Hey everybody and welcome to my Let's Play of Contra. So I decided to use a Retron 5 for this Let's Play because I wasn't sure how to hook up my capture card with Nintendo Entertainment System and NES. But I still wanted the whole cartridge NES controller experience, so I decided to opt for the Retron 5 for this. So please be jealous that I have a Retron 5 and enjoy my Let's Play. Here we go. Oh yeah, this is just nostalgia, just pure nostalgia. And I think this game, even more than like Mario and stuff, I mean I love Mario, but this game, oh my gosh, this game. So I'm just jumping right into this. Let's see. This is by no means a perfect run. My ultimate goal is to actually do a no death run. But my first step was to kind of, like, you have to take it in steps. So I decided to do I decided to attempt first a no continue run. So obviously I did not use the Konami code here because obviously when I was a kid, and like I said, this game really, if I could sum up my childhood with just one game, this will be the game, Contra. I can't even tell you how many hours I spent mostly watching my parents. When I was a kid, ironically enough, I didn't play it much, but I saw my parents play it a lot. And not only that, but it's just like, I'm a kid that was born in the 80s. I was a kid that was born in the 80s, and this just kind of sums up the 80s in a nutshell. 80s action, just 80s goodness. I mean, man. I'm a girl, right? But when I grew up, I wanted to be this dude. I didn't care. I'm like, this is so badass. Just want to run through the jungle and like kill everything, like Jesus. And yes, I am very ecstatic that I have this spread gun. I'm gonna try to protect it, hold on to it for dear life. And I don't know what was wrong with me as a kid, even now. I thought this was like a refrigerator. I don't know. Most of the enemies, I don't know what they are. Actually, as a matter of fact, now, even as an adult, I still don't know what half of the enemies are, so I just kind of think that, I just use my imagination. Alright, so now we're in level 2, the base. And by the way, I'll just take a moment, let you guys listen to the music. It's just awesome, isn't it? How can you not get pumped up with this? Seriously. Like, oh my gosh. Kids these days don't know. They don't know good games. They really don't. But I don't know why I used to really rely heavily on the Konami code, because this game does give you lives, but if you're not careful, you will lose them. Like I do all the time, and that was the stupidest mistake I've ever made in this game. And it cost me my spread gun, and I'm really, really livid right now, but I don't know, I thought I could. I don't know what I was even trying to jump over, but now I'm really sad because I don't have the spread gun anymore. And that was just me being careless, so here we go. I think my no continue run is in danger. Alright, so it's not impossible dealing with these enemies, obviously, without the spread gun, but it's a little more difficult. I don't know if they increase the aggressiveness of the enemies depending on the gun you have. I don't know. I feel like in Gradius they might do that. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that game's name correctly, but that's another game that's like really intense, another Konami game. And seriously, what is up with Konami and some good ass Nintendo music? For real, man. I think I have a playlist of music. Half of it is just Konami, I think, and everything else is like Mega Man. That sums up my video game music taste. Just like that. I feel like I'm going a lot faster than I thought I would. So this next stage, the waterfall, was causing me some trouble. I was kind of doing some quick runs through the game, mostly to see if I was able to record, if the sound was okay, that sort of thing. So I got up to this level and everything was okay up to this point. I actually hadn't died in the base until I did this run through that you see here. But the waterfall, I lost all my lives during the waterfall level, and for me, don't get me wrong, the occasional bullet will catch me off guard, but it's more the jumps. Some of the jumps in the game are pretty, they can be pretty tricky for me. Like, this game is known for shooting, but it's definitely got some platforming elements to it that I always am a little leery about. So, man, how many remixes of Contra music is out there? And by the way, this is actually the only Contra game I've played up to this. No, that's not true. I played a little bit of Contra 4 for the DS, I think that was the system it was on. And it was okay, but it's typical Contra. As a matter of fact, I think I got it when it first came out, Contra 4. And I'm happy that I got the spread gun. The spread gun is always that glimmer of hope. That's the glimmer of hope in this game. Once you get it, you're like, okay, you know what? Things are not as bad. There's about 50 billion enemies here, but that's okay. I have 50 billion bullets. So it's always a good thing. So, let's keep going. There's a jump coming up here that's a little... Oh, and this guy... By the way, that guy looks like more like a World War II soldier than he does an alien? I'm assuming all these enemies are aliens that you're battling. I actually don't know where I am. Am I on Earth? Or is this like a terraformed planet that's not Earth? I don't know. There's really no story in this. I'm obviously playing the North American version of the game. But I think in the Japanese version of the game, of Contra, I think it's called Contra in Japan. I think it's called, what is it? It's called something else in Europe, I think. Yeah, please let me know what that is, my European viewers. I don't know what the name of Contra is in Europe. So, second base. One thing people might criticize this game is that, as short as it is, and this is an incredibly short game, it has some elements that are somewhat repetitive. I know that sounds horrible. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love this game, but it's like you have two bases, and I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, guys? Oh, and okay. So Contra. I freaking love Contra. I love this game. And I love the sound effects and the music. So I mentioned the music, which was awesome, and the sound effects too are really sweet. For the past few months, and by the way, are these like ballet dancers? And I love how they tried to give me that fire weapon, but I wasn't having it. I don't know what's up with these like jumping enemies. You're gonna see a jumping enemy, I think, shortly. Yeah, look at this guy, like just a ballet dancer that's attacking me. What kind of enemies are these? I don't know. So I'm gonna not jump into those bullets anymore because I really want to save this spread gun, especially for the trickier levels. I know Snowfield's coming up after this. So for the past few months, and I always love to take my phone and put video game sound effects on it. Some of the video game sound effects that I have are, easy to find. You have like apps that have them. But then, of course, I know how I am. I always like to get the more difficult ones. So I said, well, where's the Contra sound effects? Where are those at? I want them. There's a lot of sound effects in here that I love. You're not going to hear it in this Let's Play, unfortunately. I do apologize. But the laser sound effect, as crappy as that weapon is, and I don't like that weapon, even though it does hit enemies multiple times, or hit a target multiple times. But the laser sound effect is pretty sweet. But my absolute favorite sound effect in this game is the one-up sound effect. You've heard it a couple times. And I said, I really want that sound effect, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I mean, when I tell you that I've been searching for months and months and months for in particular that sound effect, because I managed to find the Konami pause sound effect, that pause sound that you hear in pretty much all the Konami NES games and stuff. So here's the second base boss. And this one's not too bad. I mean, you have to worry about the bubbles a little bit, but these guys always get me, so I'm very paranoid about them, but thankfully I had the spread gun. It was almost impossible for me to get past it without the spread gun, this particular part, with those enemies, but the bubbles here, not so much. You kind of have to be careful when they speed up at you, so that's one thing to keep in mind, obviously. Alright, but seriously, this spread gun it kicks ass. It's awesome. So I wanted the Contra 1-up sound effect, or excuse me, the Contra rest. That's, I think, the proper term. No, Contra. these guys don't die, they just rest. Like, that's awesome. And just like that, level 5. And believe it or not, I'm actually really trying to take a very cautious approach. But at the same time, this game has an interesting way of making you kind of sit and think and say, okay, I need to time this jump properly to avoid getting hit by an enemy. Because sometimes an enemy will just run on screen and will be right where you need to be, and it's really annoying. And then there's other times where if you're sitting in a place for too long, there's no timer in this game, but if you're sitting in a place for too long, I think the game forces you to kind of move because they start spawning enemies right behind you, and it just makes it very difficult. You're trying to focus on whatever's in front of you or above you, and I think that's the game's way of kind of urging you along, you know. So the Contra Rest, I could not find it, and I did an extensive Google search. I you name it, I did all sorts of variations of the search, and I couldn't find anything. But then, just the other day, not too long ago, I actually managed to find a soundboard. It was actually a soundboard for Super Contra, which I haven't played as of yet. And I found pretty much all the sound effects, because I guess Super Contra had similar sound effects to this game, at least some of them, except the life, of course. The one sound effect that I really wanted, the rest, sounded completely different on that soundboard. So of course my hopes were dashed again. But then I said, well, wait a second. I keep hearing that the Japanese version of Contra has a sound test. The North American version doesn't, as far as I know, but the Japanese version has it. So I said, you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna download an emulator and download the Japanese version of Contra, get to that sound test, and record all the sound effects. And sure enough, the rest sound effect was in there, and it made me very happy. So finally, my phone is now equipped with some Contra sound effects, and I tell you, it was worth it. It was really awesome. So we're gonna keep going. In this level, and I do love how, I mean, it's natural. I love how the enemies become more aggressive as the game goes along. So for example, or the difficulty gets, you know, kind of upped with each and every level. So I kind of like that. So it's not, you know, routine. It just keeps you on your toes. Like these bombs, I believe it's not just if you get hit by the bomb itself. I think if you get hit in the blast radius of the bomb, you also die. So that's, you know, that was a little nerve-wracking for me. Because like I said, I'm really trying to protect my spread gun as best as I can. It just makes life that much easier. For some reason, that boss reminds me, again, I'm mentioning Gradius again. It's just nothing but Konami. It reminds me of a boss in that game, in Gradius. And I played a little bit of the Gradius games. I played the main Gradius game that I played was the third Gradius for Super Nintendo. Let me tell you something. The music in that one is awesome. My gosh. But that game is hard. I've never beaten that game. I've never beaten Gradius. I don't even know if I got sort of halfway through the game. I have no idea how far I progressed in the game, but definitely very intimidating. So my hat's off to people that have beaten the game and can beat the game easily. So obviously in this round, in this level, Energy Zone, you have these flame sticks, like from Mario. No, I don't know what that's all about, but these make me nervous. So if I were quicker, I could just kind of jump up all 3 of these levels, but definitely don't want to risk it. So I'm gonna employ the same tactic here as well. Better safe than sorry. Like I said, in games like this where there's really no need to rush because you're not timed, there's no pressure like that, just sit and take your time. That's how I do it, you know. So this power-up down here, and I've not really gotten many of the power-ups because pretty much once you get the spread gun, you're not going to want anything else. But this is an invincibility B, and I don't see the power-ups are, you can tell what power-up you're getting because of the letter, and I can kind of guess what the letters stand for most of the guns, or for most of the power-ups I should say. Like, you know, L is laser, obviously, F I guess is fire or flame, but B, I don't know what B is. What does B stand for, and how does it mean invincibility? I really don't know. I'd like to think it's badass, but I don't know if they intended for kids to curse. So I don't know why I'm fighting a luchador right here. I really don't know how this guy figures into the whole Contra universe, but it's cool. And he's like throwing these little like purple cockroaches, and it just makes me wonder about what's going on in this universe. So, stage 7, the penultimate level, the hangar. And I don't know why they didn't have a separate song for this level. This is obviously the same song as the jungle level, and I don't know why there's chicken feet attacking me. Something's very wrong here in the Contra universe, and I don't know what's going on. Hell, I don't even know what the name of oh my god. I don't know, looking back in my playthrough, and obviously I recorded this before I did the commentary, I have no, oh my god, now this is just comical at this point. He just killed himself. That's great. I don't know why I didn't just shoot, because the spread gun would have probably hit him. I don't know. I think it was just a moment of panic. When you panic in shooting games, forget it, you're done. And I tend to panic a lot, so I don't really play a lot of them. But this one holds a special place in my heart. But I don't even know what the name of my character is. I used to think that his name was Contra. I'm not even joking. I am not even joking. I used to think his name was Contra. And I don't know, I guess his name is Bill or Lance or something like that, one of those two things. Because I mean the names aren't outright said here, but I think in future games after this, I think they mention who the characters are, and they have some additional ones as well. All I know is that you have a red pants dude and then a blue pants dude, and I just like to call him Contra because it's kind of cool. He probably doesn't mind being called Contra, to be honest. Like, that's such a manly, masculine, like, sounding name. Why not? And I almost never make that jump, so I'm actually really relieved that I'm up here, because it's easier for me to kind of go up here than it is to go down on the level below. I don't know what's up with these walls. Like, somebody would really be dumb enough to run into these walls. The enemies do, but, you know, any player with sense wouldn't. So a little more of a dance with some chicken feet, and then I'll be out of this area, which is sweet. I really don't, even as a kid, I really didn't have a lot of imagination, so if any, yeah, I just kind of compare things to things I've seen, and that was it. So that explains my severe lack of understanding of this universe here. But yeah, I don't know, I honestly don't even know how many Contra games there are out there. Like I said, I did play a little bit of Contra 4, and I loved in the first level, I think, there was a kind of an homage to the original, you know, the original Contra, the jungle level, with the song sounding very similar to it. And at long last. So I'm feeling like I'm in really good shape here. I'm going into the final level, stage 8, Alien's Lair, with 5 rests. So that's cool. So this is Alien's Lair, so I'm assuming I'm really not on Earth anymore. I don't know. I don't know. For some reason, this final level used to scare the crap out of me. And the music too. I don't know why. I used to be very afraid of random things, and I don't know why this like thing on the wall here. Great, just lost my machine gun. This monster, I don't even know what this is. It doesn't have any eyes, so I don't know what's up with that. Why it's spitting out shrimp, flying shrimp at me. I don't know. And I'm assuming this wall here is his or her eggs. I don't know. But anyway, for some reason, certain Nintendo songs used to scare the crap out of me, and I could only imagine something like Metroid, the music from Metroid being really haunting to me. And I'm pretty sure I don't want to take a dip in that radioactive water down there, so... Okay, what are these things now? Seriously, like... These are like eyelids or like vagina dentata that are spitting out like dandelion, you know, those dandelion things? I know, I have an extensive vocabulary, but... I'm attempting to, I should say, take a very cautious approach. I try to just make sure that only one appears on the screen at a time. Okay, so I have an extra rest here too. That's kind of sweet. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. When those things fly at you, gosh. Okay, so I'm just gonna move on at this point. There's a few more of these enemies here. Oh, these things really creep me out. Yeah, they look like eyelids without eyes, but then they have teeth on them, so What is that? And seriously, what's up with what they're spitting out? And what am I walking on? Like, what is all this? It looks like skeletons of aliens just kind of compacted to form the ground here. Alright, so at this point, I'm just gonna... My gosh, okay. Ooh, now I'm down to 3. Okay, I'm gonna make this count, because we're almost at the end, folks. Just like that, almost at the end. It's a massive heart. And by the way, I want to thank this game for making me think that human hearts were shaped like this. Thank you for giving me a misconception of the human anatomy. Alright. So, I'm gonna ignore these spider things for the most part, because some of them don't jump down, other ones do. There you go. Okay, that one should not have hit me, so... At this point, I'm just gonna try to go for the heart. And I didn't realize that oh my god, I'm down to my last rest. Okay. I'm just gonna go after the heart, jump over them when I need to, and then just keep going. Because if I get distracted by them, I will definitely die. I think that's kind of like the best approach, at least at this point. So, oh boy, look how fast that heart's going. Oh my gosh, this was like so sweet because I honestly thought I was gonna have to use a continue. But there you have it, short and sweet. One of my favorite childhood games. One of most people's favorite childhood games. I mean, who doesn't like Contra? If you don't like Contra, then something's wrong. Seriously. Congratulations. And by the way, you destroyed the Vile Red Falcon and saved the universe. Such a simple screen, and yet it was so satisfying. My gosh. And I know that this game came on the arcade. I never played the arcade version of the game because I didn't really go to a lot of arcades, so I only ever played this version of it, and so obviously, you know, I'm gonna prefer this version. But I don't know. So I don't really know how the arcade version compares. I would presume that the arcade version had better graphics than the Nintendo, and I would be curious to hear what the music sounded like in that version. But like I said, I think no matter how it stacks up compared to this version of the game, this will always have a special place in my heart. And by the way, I do have to say that the cartridge that I played is actually the very same cartridge that I had growing up. So it's from the 80s, and obviously it still works, which is crazy. So you treat your classic games right, they're gonna treat you right, folks. That's the moral of the story. So at long last, presented by Konami. Oh yeah. I think I'm gonna name my daughter, if I ever have a daughter, name her Konami because it's sweet. Alright, and there you have it.